Happy Friday, Eagles. Look at us go. Week 3 of e-learning is almost complete. I'm proud of you, proud to be your teacher. I'm noticing that some of you are leaving some comments on my YouTube page, which I love. The more I can interact or see you on Zoom or get texts or emails or calls, comments, the happier it makes me. So please keep leaving comments on my videos. It makes me feel good. So, last thing we have, sorry, my nose itches. Okay, we have this week, let's review. We've gone over the 5 elements of literature, right? So we've gone over plot, characters, conflict, theme, which leaves our last one, setting. Our last one is setting. That's where and when a story takes place. I feel like setting is like the first element of literature you learn. I remember when I taught kindergarten, gosh, that was 4 years ago. 4 years ago when I taught kindergarten, we talked about setting every time we read a story. So, setting is the time, place, and environment of a story, okay? Or a literary text, since we're using 4th grade lingo. So, the time, that's going to be when. Here I put morning, afternoon, and night, but it can also be the time period. We've read books that have taken place during Islamic times, ancient Islamic times, the Middle Ages. Harriet Tubman took place during the Civil War, so it doesn't just have to be at 1 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. It can just be the time period that something takes place. The place, so this is the location. Where? Was it at home? Was it in a boat? Was it at a store? Was it at a park? The books that we read nowadays, because we're in upper elementary, so everything is a little bit more complex, you're going to have multiple places. So most of the time, like a chapter will take place at a certain location, or a certain scene. And we've talked about when we read Once Upon a Marigold, that blank space in between text means we're jumping from place to place, but it's still the same chapter. So don't think, well, my book has tons of settings, she's going to count one wrong. As long as you can prove, like, hey, this setting in chapter 3 was this, and I know it because the text said this, then you're fine. Your bases are covered. Remember, as long as you have text evidence, it's very hard to get something wrong in ELA. Because if you can prove it with text evidence, you cite your claim, state your evidence, and give me your reasoning, as long as those 3 components are there, I can't mark it wrong. It's not like math where 1 + 1 has to equal 2 no matter what. And then the environment. So this is like what? Is it rainy? Is it sunny? Is it dark? Is it breezy? This one is kind of an add-on to make it a little more difficult for 4th graders. Not every story is going to come right out and tell you the environment, but this kind of plays into the conflict of a story, okay, of what's going on in the surrounding areas that is creating this story or this issue. So the setting affects what happens in the story. And so characters react to the setting. So if I have, my character is a fish and a turtle, my story can't take place in a desert. It all has to be connected, and then it has to flow. The characters have to fit into the setting. And that's more so for the writing part of this, which we are not focusing on right now during remote learning, or at least for this week. This is just identifying setting and identifying how the setting plays a role in literature with characters. And then the characters in the setting should fit together. So I kind of do this like a puzzle, like they should fit. So this leads me into your MobyMax assignment today is setting. And it's not just what is the setting. That's too easy of a question. It's going to ask you like how the setting impacts the story. So like in the book Wonder, him going to school for the first time, school being the setting was a big deal because it impacted how he reacted to things. If he didn't go to school, we wouldn't really have a story. So setting is not just where and when it takes place. It's kind of how it fits into the story, and it kind of keeps the story going. Same thing as always. Zoom, 9 to 11. you're not available during those times, call, text, email me, leave comments on my YouTube videos. This week was sad. Zuzu didn't come interrupt me. Maybe next week. Have a great weekend.